Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Hot Zone. I'm your host, Jason Robinson. And in the Hot Zone this week, we have got civil rights activist, Reverend Jesse Jackson. We're going to speak to the Reverend today about the tragic killing of George Floyd, about police brutality in the African-American community, and about the protests and riots going on in the United States. All that and more. So stay tuned because you're in the Hot Zone. Welcome back to the Hot Zone. We are joined by Reverend Jesse Jackson. Thank you so much for joining us in the Hot Zone today, Reverend.
Thank you, sir.
So I first want to start by asking you, how did you feel when you first saw that horrific video of the killing of George Floyd by the police?
I was anguished and hurt. I was not blinded by hate, however. I know that the difference is his was on tape. Police have killed 1,000 citizens a year since 2013, 1,000 a year. It's a pattern of killing us, and without the camera. Trayvon Martin killed, Diallo in New York killed, Michael Brown in Ferguson, Missouri killed. And so it was painful to see, but the world saw it, and the world has convulsed. That's a good thing.
You actually went to Minneapolis and you visited the site where George Floyd died, at the exact site. What emotions were running through you at that particular moment?
I thought about Dr. King lying in his blood in Memphis, Tennessee. That's part of it ran through my mind. Also, I have to, as a leader, I have to think through crisis, not just given to them. So through it all, we're making progress, and I'm not going to let this break our spirit. We're going to use this and inspire us to fight back.
The looters and the rioters. Now, clearly, they are two separate groups. The protesters are out there marching and protesting for justice. Obviously, the rioters and looters, they have their own agenda. What would you say to both of those different groups?
People will march in defiance and conscience. Those who come with bricks and the crowbars, the brick windows, they loot them when they turn them. Black kids did not set the police headquarters on fire, for example. Black kids are not breaking those windows. When the windows come down, they're going to take what's, you cannot judge that's not right. It's not a good thing. But you're focusing on burning cars as opposed to focusing on justice. And that's my concern, that there's not been a single white who spent a single night in jail in the history of Minnesota. Matter of fact, 493 police who killed blacks got less time than Michael Vick for killing a dog.
Yeah.
So let's focus on the main thing. There's a corona pandemic, poverty pandemic, and police.
Right.
As we march against Blue Code 19 is a big deal. So people must, even in March, they must honor the protocols of distancing, hand sanitizing, and not congregating, because you could have a spike in this virus next week. Right. It would be painful.
What did you think when you heard President Trump tweeted, "When the looting starts, the shooting starts"? What went through your head when you heard that he sent that tweet?
It's a tip to arouse white fear.
Right.
Voting purposes, and it seems that a lot of whites are not going along with that. They think they can use the marches as a way to revive Trump's strength in the South. I think it won't work this time.
You and the great Dr. Martin Luther King protested and marched during the civil rights era in the 60s. And as we fast forward today to 2020, what would you say to a lot of the protesters out there who feel like all their crying and the outpouring and all the help that they're reaching out for has fallen on deaf ears?
We were in Memphis marching to get sanitation workers the right to organize, to make a living even as they picked up garbage. The garbage workers, they too wanted to run their Willits House graduation. Mm-hmm. So the riot at the end by provocateurs took attention away from the garbage workers, put on broken windows. You're not marching for broken windows, the right to break a window, to burn a car. But for garbage workers to have a decent living and have the sense of dignity. So today, we know there are always provocateurs who are willing to sacrifice the purpose of the march for their own purposes. So if you march with somebody that you know,
Right.
some you don't like, tackle them. No, do not let them take away the sanctity of our march.
What do you think Dr. Martin Luther King's message would be today in 2020?
The message would be that the conditions that led to the explosion should be eliminated. He said when people are rioting, it's hard to get their attention. They're into a zone, so to speak.
Right.
But the fuel, the match is lit. Alienation. I mean, you think about Minneapolis, about 10% black, prison about 6% black. No police has ever been arrested a single night for killing a black in Minneapolis. A guy on the force had 18 citations and hadn't been arrested. So it's the constant agony of that.
What advice would you give President Trump right now, today, to bring this nation together as one to heal?
He's not inclined to do it, but a healing message would be in order at this time to convene leaders of all sectors of the population and hear what we have to say, to hear us, not just lectures, to hear what we have to say.
If there is one thing that you could say to George Floyd's family and to all the Americans out there that are suffering and in so much pain due to all of this senseless killings of our African American community, what would you say to George Floyd's family and to the Americans out there to help them get past this and move forward?
In time, God is a healer. Don't give up. God's using Floyd in the way few have been used in American history. He shook up the world. He is now a martyr who represents the best in the Floyd family. He is now being used by God to bring about justice in the world.
Thank you so much, Reverend Jackson, for joining us in the Hot Zone today. I appreciate everything and love everything that you have done for our country and our nation throughout the civil rights era.
We're going to come back to the Hot Zone.
Whenever you're ready to come back. We love to have you in the Hot Zone, buddy.